Let me ask you something. If someone told you that you had a pension waiting for you at retirement, a guaranteed monthly check for the rest of your life, would you stop worrying about money? Would you figure the retirement problem was basically solved and focus on everything else? Because that is exactly what most teachers in America believe right now. And that belief, that comfortable, reasonable, completely understandable belief, is quietly setting up one of the biggest retirement crises in the American workforce. Today, we're going to look at the real numbers behind teacher pensions in 2026, not the brochure version, the actual math. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you are going to understand your retirement picture more clearly than most teachers who have been in the classroom for 20 years. My name is Ryan, and I built this channel for everyday working Americans, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, people earning regular salaries who deserve real financial answers. Subscribe and hit the like button. Let's get into it. Here is something worth thinking about before we get into the numbers. Most people trust systems they did not design and do not fully understand. You trust that your car's brakes work without rebuilding the engine yourself. You trust that the bridge holds without checking every bolt. That trust is reasonable and necessary. But when it comes to your retirement, the system that will fund every single day of your life after you stop working, trusting without understanding is one of the most expensive decisions a person can make. A pilot doesn't just trust the autopilot, they understand it well enough to know when it needs intervention. Your pension is the autopilot. Today, we are learning to read the instruments.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median annual salary for a public school teacher in America in 2025 sits at approximately $68,000 per year. After federal taxes, state taxes, Social Security where applicable, and pension contributions, which typically run between 8 and 10% of a teacher's gross salary coming out of every paycheck, the average teacher takes home somewhere between $44,000 and $48,000 per year. Call it $3,900 per month in actual spendable income. Now, in 2026, that $3,900 is doing serious work. Rent in most American cities runs $1,500 to $2,000 per month. Groceries are running families close to $500 monthly after years of stubborn inflation. Transportation, utilities, phone, another $600 easily. And for the significant portion of teachers who carry student loan debt, the average teacher graduates with roughly $30,000 in student loans. Monthly payments are back and running between $250 and $400 per month, with repayments fully restarted. Add it up, and the average teacher has somewhere between $400 and $700 per month of flexible income after fixed expenses. That is the number we are working with, and what happens to that number, whether it builds something or disappears, is the entire story of teacher retirement in America. So let's talk about the pension, because this is where most teachers stop reading and assume they are covered. A teacher pension sounds like a guaranteed retirement income for life, and technically that is true, but here is what the brochure does not show you. The average teacher pension benefit in America, calculated across all 50 states, pays out approximately 60% of your final salary after a full 30-year career, according to data from the National Council on Teacher Quality. On a $68,000 final salary, that is approximately $40,800 per year in pension income. Sounds workable until you look at two things the brochure never mentions. First, vesting. Most teacher pension systems require between 5 and 10 years of service before you are vested, meaning before you earn any pension benefit at all. According to research from Bellwether Education Partners, nearly half of all teachers leave the profession before reaching their pension's vesting cliff. Nearly half. They paid into the system for years and walked away with little to nothing. If you are a teacher in year 3 or year 4, you have not earned a single dollar of pension benefit yet, regardless of how much has been deducted from your paycheck. Second, and this is the number that should genuinely alarm you, pension fund solvency. According to the Pew Charitable Trusts, American public pension funds are collectively underfunded by approximately $1.3 trillion as of the most recent reporting period. Trillion! The money that is supposed to be there to pay your pension in 2035 or 2045 has a $1.3 trillion gap between what is promised and what is actually funded. States like Illinois, New Jersey, and Kentucky have pension funding ratios below 50%, meaning they have less than half the money they need to pay what they have promised. This does not mean your pension disappears. Most states will find ways to honor commitments through tax increases, benefit reductions, or federal intervention. But banking your entire retirement on a system that is underfunded by over $1 trillion without any backup plan is a risk most teachers are taking without fully understanding it. Now, here's the part that genuinely changes the picture, and this is what I want every teacher watching to lean into, because the pension situation is complicated, but the solution is not. Most teachers in America have access to a 403b retirement account, the teacher equivalent of a 401k. It works the same way. You contribute pre-tax dollars from your paycheck, the money grows tax-deferred, you invest it in mutual funds or index funds of your choice, and, unlike your pension, this account belongs entirely to you, not to a state system, not to a funding ratio, not to a vesting cliff. It is yours from the first dollar contributed.
Here is what the numbers look like for a teacher named James. James is 29 years old, first grade teacher, $65,000 salary. After taxes and his mandatory pension contribution, his take-home is $3,850 per month. His fixed expenses run $3,200 per month in a mid-size American city. He has $650 per month of flexible income. James commits $400 per month to a 403b invested in a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. That leaves him $250 per month for life, not lavish, but real and sustainable. $400 per month, 8% average annual return. From age 29 to age 62, a standard teacher retirement age in most states, 33 years of consistent investing. The result? Approximately $798,000 in his 403b account at retirement. Combined with his pension, even a reduced one, even an imperfect one, James retires with a pension check plus a portfolio generating $31,920 per year at a 4% withdrawal rate. His total retirement income lands somewhere between $55,000 and $72,000 per year, depending on his final pension calculation. On a teacher's salary, with $400 per month, starting at 29. That is not a crisis. That is a funded, dignified retirement, built by someone who understood that the pension was the floor, not the ceiling. Here is the mistake that costs teachers the most. They treat the pension as the whole plan. They see the deductions coming out of every paycheck, 8 to 10% of their gross salary going into the pension system, and they think that is their retirement contribution. Done. Handled. But here is the uncomfortable truth. That pension contribution is not building your personal wealth. It is funding a collective system that may or may not pay out at the levels currently promised by the time you retire. Meanwhile, your 403b, the account that actually belongs to you personally, sits empty because nobody told you it existed or why it mattered. According to the National Pension Education Association, fewer than 40% of eligible teachers actively contribute to their 403b plan. 60% of teachers have access to a personal retirement account that could transform their financial future and are not using it. Not because they're irresponsible, because nobody told them clearly enough that the pension alone is not enough, and the 403b is the tool that fixes it. Let me show you James' retirement picture two ways, because this is where the math becomes undeniable. James, without the 403b, relies entirely on his pension. After a 30-year career, his pension pays approximately $40,800 per year. Social Security, which many teachers in certain states do not receive because their pension system opted out, may add $0 to $12,000 depending on his state. Total retirement income between $40,800 and $52,800 per year. In a 2026 economy where basic living costs for a retiree run $35,000 to $45,000 annually, this is survivable but fragile. One major medical expense, one period of high inflation, one pension benefit reduction, and the math breaks. James with the 403b. Same pension, same career, but $400 per month invested from age 29 adds $798,000 to his retirement picture. That portfolio generates $31,920 per year on top of his pension. Total retirement income between $72,000 and $84,000 per year. The pension is still there, doing its job as the foundation, but now there's a second floor built on top of it that James owns completely and that no state funding crisis can touch. Same teacher, same classroom, same salary. The only difference is whether he used the account that was available to him the whole time.
I want to speak directly to the teachers watching this who feel stretched right now. Student loans restarted, classroom supplies still coming out of your own pocket in many districts, a salary that has not kept pace with what everything costs in 2026. I know the $400 per month number sounds like a lot when the margin is already thin, but here is the lower bar version of this. Even $100 per month into a 403b from age 29 grows to approximately $200,000 by age 62 at historical market returns. That is $200,000 that belongs entirely to you, independent of your pension, independent of your state's funding ratio, independent of everything except your own consistent small decision repeated month after month. Start with what you have. Increase it when you can, but start. You deserve better than spending 30 years shaping the next generation of Americans and arriving at retirement dependent on a pension system that has $1 trillion funding gap and no backup plan. You deserve better than trusting a system you were never given the instruments to read. Your pension is real. Your dedication earned it. But it was never designed to be enough on its own, and the people who designed it knew that. Now you know it too. The 403b is open. The index fund is available. The compound interest is ready to work for the next 33 years if you give it something to work with today. The pension is your floor. Now go build your ceiling. That decision belongs entirely to you.